Hey, it's John and Mike, brew-dudes.com, and we're here with another beer to talk about what you may brew at home. This is Mike's continued exploration of, I guess, English styles. This is a best bitter. He teased it with saying, oh, it says a hop variety you may not expect to be in it. So I can't wait to learn more. All right, Mike, take us through the process of how you came up with this best bitter.
Okay, so I've brewed a ton of best bitters in the past. It's been a long time since I've played in this space. You have your ordinary bitter, your best bitter, strong bitter. This one is 62% Maris Otter, 18% pale malt, because I didn't have enough Maris Otter to make it work.
There you go.
That's the Valley Malt the Valley Malting pale malt, and then 10% Karistan, which is 35 Lovibond. I sort of really like that malt. And then there's a 7% biscuit, biscuit malt, and then just a touch 3.5% of C120, which I think is giving us some of that color.
Yeah.
The hop normally in these beers, and I've always brewed these beers with just East Kent Goldings all the time. And so I'm trying to mix it up a little bit and explore some of the other hops in that English UK domain, but without pushing into some of the cooler new age hops like Jester
Sure.
and things like that. So this is actually Challenger, which is 5.6 alpha acid, and it's 1 ounce of this at 60 minutes. So there's no other additions, just going there. Because I want the malt profile to stand out. I want to have a drinkable, low ABV beer. I mashed this at 154 for 60, ramped up to 168 for another 15 minutes. The original gravity on this was 1040, and it went all the way down to 1005 so slightly stronger than I was hoping for, but it's still at 4.5% ABV.
Yep.
Could be a little, I would like it to be just a touch lower, but you tell me when we're drinking it. A little bit of gypsum, a little bit of mag sulfate in the boil, no big deal. I mean, in the mash, no big deal. The calculated volume here is about 37 IBUs altogether, so right in the wheelhouse. It's probably a little stronger than what it would be, but I want it to be that way because I just happen to know in my system I need at least 30 IBUs to make me happy. I'm not a big bitter guy, but whatever. Yeah. And then the yeast on this was Mangrove Jack's Empire Ale yeast.
Okay.
So just because I have it, and I'm sort of tired of using SO4, and I didn't have time to go to the store to get something more fancy, but I'm just playing with the base recipe. I think somewhere in the future I'll explore with a little bit more yeast breakouts like we have in the past.
I thought there was a few of those English yeast explorations and you landed on one or two that you really liked.
Yeah, I like the ESB strains. I think that's the Fuller strain is really nice. What's the other one? I do use English a lot from Cellar Science, which I think is slightly different than the SO4 variant. I think it's in that, or maybe SO4 is Whitbread. I can't remember exactly. Should have looked it up. But anyway,
there's a spreadsheet for that.
Yeah, you know, the thing is, I'd have to go back and watch our own videos because that's where the notes are, right? They're not here in the old noggin anymore.
They're on YouTube now.
So exactly. So that's sort of the problem with having a YouTube channel. I just sort of use that as a repository for all this stuff and don't go back and look at it.
Is that why our views are going up on those old videos?
Yeah, you're right, because that's me.
Like, I don't remember.
Yep.
All right, well, it certainly looks the part. Nice, amber color, almost like a dark gold. Getting that Challenger off the nose.
Yep.
But some yeast esters too.
There's definitely a yeast profile in there, along with whatever is lingering around from the Challenger. I don't love it. I don't hate it, but I don't love it.
Yeah.
I think I'm missing the EKG aspect
now
of it.
You say
with that very subtle, it's earthy, floral, marmalade thing. The Challenger to me, the bitterness is it's not super smooth, but it's not really aggressive. It's just a little bit. There's a lot of like that. It's just a lot of earth, herbalness going on there.
Yeah, it's almost one note to me too.
Yeah, absolutely. The whole beer presents a little bit because of that hop, I think, and that yeast strain. It's a little bit. I mean, it's a little yeasty still, even though it's been fermented a while back and it's been in the keg for 2 weeks. It's still a little yeasty. It almost has a little bit of that Hefeweizen type of thing to it, but But anyway, getting past that at least, I mean, I like the malt bill. I think it could be a little bit more on that biscuit note.
Yeah.
I could hit that a little bit harder, so maybe bump that up a little bit more. Even though it's 7%, maybe make it equal with the Karastan at 10%. I was going to say, you know, so
because I think it would balance well with if you had equal parts Karastan and biscuit.
Yeah, absolutely. So overall, I like it. I mean, I think for the time of year we're talking about here, 4.5% English ale. It's about all those other pale ales with all your American hops and your New Zealand hops and stuff. A lot of hop load. I think I'm just burnt out a little bit, so I wanted to go back into this English style ales and just make these types of sessionable, highly drinkable beers. Or maybe I would crack open a commercial New England IPA first, and then I could finish the rest of the day with this.
Yeah, transition to this, huh?
You know what I mean?
You were asking about the finishing gravity and just, you know, how it affected the beer.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know.
I have another underpinning of some water chemistry stuff coming in the future.
I see.
This was the first foray into playing with that. So for some reason, I've become really obsessed with attenuation. And this is a tremendous amount of attenuation, going from 40 all the way down to 0.005. So maybe I've overshot the mark there with what I've been doing. And that could be contributing to the flavor a little bit. I mean, I think maybe it's a little bit sulfate heavy. I don't have any chloride in here. This is spring water, essentially Poland Spring, but it's whatever that off-brand is, which is extremely soft water. I mean, there's really nothing in it. From all your mineral levels are in single digit for the most part, and the alkalinity is almost 0 too. So I think that might be contributing to all of these character malts probably actually need a little bit more chloride. So what would I change? I'd probably add I would actually go in there with sodium chloride, a little table salt. Let the calcium come from my gypsum and stuff. But a little table salt would probably help those malts shine a little bit more. And I think it wouldn't be just such a one-note hop experience and a little bit yeasty. I think the yeastiness is standing out because even though the diversity of that hop profile, the malt profile, is just not coming out. So a little bit of water chemistry stuff going on there, right?
I see.
So
you're working with water chemistry to help with attenuation.
Attenuation, yeah.
Wow. And this was your first attempt, and you really,
I'm modifying my process a bit to try to drive attenuation.
I see.
Yeah. And it looks like I did that.
I will say. So, I mean 1005 is
yeah. It's starting at 1040, so
yeah, sure.
And it is a 3.5 gallon batch, and I dropped a full package of that dry yeast in there, which was a relatively fresh package of the yeast. So, you know, I just think I really got a great fermentation, and it was in the fermenter for a little bit more than 2 weeks. So I mean, I really had time to go all the way, and I wasn't pressured to get it all done for this. But it's been in the keg for like 2 weeks. Cold conditioning, carbonating, sitting, getting ready. So I think all that stuff comes together to make a pretty good. I'm hitting my numbers. It's just going back to now the original recipe and get some EKG in there.
I was going to say, bring back the EKG. All right. Well, that's Mike's latest exploration in English bitters. Certainly going to tweak something. I'm curious more about the water chemistry, something to stay tuned for to see how it plays out. But I'm glad he's back on the English beat because these beers are pretty good. Mangrove Jack, huh? Empire?
Yep. Yeah, and I've recently learned from that DM Taylor's big yeast sheet, right?
Yeah.
That those guys are buying their yeast from other sources and repackaging it under their own label at a slightly different amount. Like it might be 10 grams instead of 11.5 grams, but they're repackaging other yeast. So somehow.
Got it.
So it's just like when you go to like Trader Joe's and buy pita chips. You're not buying. Trader Joe's is not making pita chips. They're putting Amy's pita chips in a bag with their name on it. So
that's right.
Everybody does it. So
do you?
Maybe.
Okay, I'll have to check out your Etsy page or whatever you're doing. All right, well, thanks for watching this video. Give us a thumbs up if you liked it. Subscribe to our channel. We do this kind of thing every single week for John and Mike. brew-dudes.com. Brew on.
Cheers.